Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Anya Galli Robertson. I'm an assistant professor of sociology at the University of Dayton. I'm talking quickly about an activity that I used in class to engage students' emotions around climate change. So this often is something that we don't think of as a topic where a professor would experience joy and laughter while talking about climate change emotions. We usually think about all of these emotions as pretty heavy. But this is a picture of me teaching this lab. This was one of the most meaningful experiences that I had in the classroom teaching my social science of climate change class. The challenge of teaching emotion obviously is that affect is more complex than the words we have to describe individual emotions, and that students tend to focus on single emotions at one time without being able to engage in the multiplicity of emotions that they're experiencing around the topic. At the same time, students can both be inspired and inhibited by the same feelings when it comes to taking action on climate change. So this lab seeks to engage students around these topics. So the first thing that I did was have students pick a face that represented how they felt about climate change. And this was to try and get away from the idea that we always have to be able to name an emotion. So I had them look at these images. These are from psychological databases of faces that are used to study affect and emotion. So I printed these out and had students choose the one that best represented how they felt about climate change. Then I had students look at some videos that represented different aspects of the climate crisis, and I had them write down the emotions that they experienced or identified in those videos. And after doing that individually, they came together in groups to create lists of emotions that were shared among all of them. So the common emotions for the class were then generated based on what they saw in those videos. Then I had students engage with these letters from the Is This How You Feel project, which is a list of letters from climate scientists responding to the question, how does climate change make you feel? This is a fantastic resource that's linked in the toolkit that can be used in all sorts of ways. I used this in class. I had students each read a different letter. So I distributed the letters across the class. And then I had the students look through these letters and generate lists again of emotions that were experienced and represented by the climate scientists in these letters. Then I had the students compare the lists of their emotions to the lists of emotions that they generated from the climate scientists. And then I had them narrow down these lists by basically narrowing down all of the emotions that were represented so that there weren't any duplicates, and coming up with sort of a master list of emotions. And then I had them go back to those faces that they had selected and attach those faces to the actual names of emotions. And what students said was that often the name they would have given to their primary emotion about climate change sort of shifted throughout the class. So the emotion they might have thought of at the beginning may not have been the emotion that they attached their face to on the board at this stage. And then finally, to give students a sense of having created something that they could really take with them out of class, and also to give them a sense of how the same emotion can both inspire or inhibit action, I had them create sort of a meme or a demotivational and motivational poster based on one emotion. So for example, students worked with the word determined and wrote, being determined inspires action by giving you a goal to work towards, or being determined inhibits action because you have to break some rules along the way. Or feeling motivation inspires action by creating change, or feeling motivation inhibits action by overwhelming us. And then they chose images. I used silly pictures of animals, but you could really use anything to create sort of meme-based images that they could leave the class having created. So here are some of the examples. Students chose fooled for this one. And then they said, not everyone takes action, or you don't have to keep your head in the ground if you're feeling that you've been fooled about the science of climate change. And a lot of students, when I had them attach their images again to the sort of meme that best represented how they felt, a lot of students chose this one. It was really interesting. Here's another one, confused. Confused and ignoring it, or confused and trying to find answers. The sense of guilt and feeling that they needed to do something. I thought this image was a really powerful picture for this one. Or here was one for hope. Hope was a really common one that students chose. We can still have hope even when the world's upside down, or I'm hopeful that someone else will do it while I lay here. So that's just an example of engaging students' emotions around climate change with a variety of modalities in under 45 minutes.